Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session on digital marketing for global businesses. I know this was supposed to be an Instagram live session. Unfortunately, due to some regulatory restrictions, we couldn't do it on Instagram live. And I'm recording this session. I, in a way, don't like recorded sessions because it won't allow you to interact with the audience. I always love to interact, engage, and hear from the audience. Nevertheless, at the outset, I thank HETIC India team for this opportunity and choosing this a very vital topic. So let's begin. First things first. I hope all of you are taking care of your health, your family's health, and your community's health. Stay safe. We are still far from Corona being over. So stay safe. So a quick note about me. I'm a digital marketer from last 10 years. I have worked across industries and managed social media, website development, SEO, WhatsApp for business, email campaigns, and performance marketing, which is ads and promotions on various platforms. So the major brands that I work with are Wipro, Manipal Hospitals, Wall Street Exchange, which is a Dubai-based currency exchange house. Then RITTAL, a German-based global conglomerate. Then Kim's Global, a global hospital chain. Ace Micromatic Group, leading CNC machine manufacturers in India with global ambitions. EasyTab, a fintech firm, corporate Gurukul, Singapore-based education company. Telematics for You, IoT-based software company. Manipal Executive Education, both in Dubai and in Bangalore. I got a chance to work with them, right? And a couple of these the campaigns that I had worked on has won the awards as well, right? So moving on, what has obviously Corona is something that has affected everyone on the planet. Uh, our generation, we only heard about World War II, which was as a great disaster, but still World War II, in terms of how it affected people directly, it was only restricted to the armies and the administration and the government and some part of the world, right? Not the entire world. But COVID has hit everyone and it has impacted everyone's life, and digital is no exception, right? So let's see how it has impacted the global economic scenario. An estimated 20 trillion loss to the global GDP, estimated 50 million job losses. Full-fledged recovery, experts say, would happen by March 2021 unless there is a vaccine in place. I don't see it happening. But what has really changed, which is also very important for marketers, is drastic changes in the consumer behavior, right? So that is still being identified, how exactly it has affected the consumer behavior. We will get to know in the days to come, right? Moving on, no surprises here. Everyone was locked down throughout the world and everyone was inside the four walls. So the TV viewership, the across languages, it may be Hindi or any other vernacular across the globe, and new content being launched on the OTT platforms, like movies being launched, right? Just because the consumption is so high, they felt they don't know no more need theaters, and as theaters were also locked, right? Sports was hard hit because there was no it was completely off the ground. Just that recently there are a couple of matches which has already started happening. It may be football or cricket, right? Obviously there was a huge surge in the smartphone usage, and then the big growth was seen in mobile gaming. All right, so that's going to be Gaming is going to be the next battleground for all the brands, right? So quickly, let's see what else COVID has impacted. COVID has accelerated the digital adoption across the globe. As an example, if you had tried convincing your colleagues or your company saying that, I will connect from home today and I will be, connecting with you over the video call, they would say, no, 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 that is really hard. Why don't you come to office, right? But now you don't have to tell anyone. So they themselves, everyone has got used to the video calls and webinars and working remotely, right? So likewise, there are so many, digital adoption that was accelerated because of the COVID crisis. And so does the marketing budget, right? So no surprises that a large chunk of traditional marketing budget uh, will be spent or will be, deployed for digital in the coming days by all, global brands, right? It may be a top 500 or it may be the smallest of the companies. Digital is going to be their first channel of marketing, right? Obviously, that may be the growth for the future, but surely the growth or the advertising spends for now is being hit. So these are some stats how much impact it has created on the advertising budgets. Display about 6% down, TV about 21% down, search -8%, and then video is the only thing which has seen a surge, and then outside advertising, right? So overall, there is surely an impact because businesses are now scared and they're just adopting wait and watch strategy for better days to come, so that they can open up their marketing budgets, right? And a small, uh, you know, details regarding the consumer shift or the consumer behavior shift, as people were logged inside their houses, right? So many of the times, they were forced to go and shop in a new mom and pop shop, or order online, which they had never done in the past. They were always comfortable going to one particular store or picking up one particular brand's garment, or ordering from one e-commerce portal. Mm, just because many of the brands were not ready, they were to deliver the goods to them, uh, to their houses. Consumers made a shift, and many of the times consumers also felt, why don't I try this brand, right? So that is something which is not a good news for the big brands who are really doing well. Unless they really change and adapt, they will have tough days to come. All right, so it's basically about change. Again, it's not that consumers are saying, no, I will not come back to my old brand, to which I was loyal to. It's just that how convenient, how better experience this brand create for them, the sooner they will come back. And the medium they can reach out to the consumers and convince them again is digital, right? No surprises there. So overall, the businesses which will really survive are the ones which will basically not just survive, which surge, are the ones which manage the situation effectively, which see the change, right? And which doesn't say that, no, 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 everything is going to be as usual, how it was before COVID. No. So uh, this has happened in 2008 crisis. This has happened during dot-com bubble crisis, right? Businesses which were complacent, which didn't open up for change, they were forced to, shut down, right? Uh, and businesses which adapted really surged. Example, Alibaba really grew during SARS crisis in China. Amazon also saw a big surge during 2008 um, uh, recession, and even Google's revenue uh, was reached its peak during 2008, because they were the ones who were future ready, right? It's not just them. even in 70s, it has happened with the rivals of McDonald's and even with General Motors, right? When Toyota picked up, Toyota spent heavily during the 70s economic crisis in US, where GM completely withdrew, right? It's not really about withdrawing and going into a shell. The businesses should plan. So those are the ones which will survive, and the economy is going to be digital economy in the future, right? So quickly coming back to the topic, so we are talking about global brands, right? So how digital marketing can be effective, or how it can be used, right? So the lines of global and national brands are in a way getting blurred now because of the e-commerce. Earlier, if you have to really say a brand is global, that means they need to have physical offices in more than one country, right? So now that's not the case. You can just have your office, or you need not have to have an office, but you still have operations across the globe, right? So that's the power of digital and the impact it has created, right? But still, the global, whenever a brand is exposed to a lot of markets, obviously there's a lot of intelligence and data. So that's one thing which comes to their aid and which helps them, right? So it's pretty easy for them to go and start a business in a new market, just by following the same methods they followed in the one of the markets, right? So, and their country of origin also always makes it favorable for the uh, businesses, right? For example, whenever we say when we talk about Italian, when we talk about marbles, we say it's Italian marble, and German cars are always looked up to, and then French wine, and Swedish watches, and Indian doctors and engineers, right? And everything USA. So right, broadly, I've just tried to capture some of these. So the origin of the brand also in a way matters, and how it is perceived, right? Also, whenever we say a global brand, they also have big pockets and big budgets to spend, right? So which might not be the case with many of the national brands, right? But again, when we say a global brand, the main hurdle comes to them of a cultural fit or cultural misfit, right? For example, when McDonald opened its branches in India, they were heavily serving non-vegetarian burgers and many other things, and unfortunately they were made to invent new products and burgers for India, and their highest selling product in India is aloo burger. So um, the thing is, unless a brand tries to fit culturally to the native country, it's very hard for them to survive, right? So, and also, as soon as anyone wants to open or grow, the global brands really doesn't have the presence, right? Also, people doesn't know them. So that's where really the marketing comes in handy and ensure that they global, even um, with terms in terms of e-commerce also. For example, in this region, Amazon bought a well-known Middle East e-commerce platform called as Souk. So even, I mean, Amazon could have just come and opened its own platform here, right? Just like it did in India. But just it felt that people are already connected with Souk so much, so they thought, instead of we trying to create it from the bottom up, they purchased it. So it's not just always about the technology; it's also about the cultural fit and cultural fit and various other factors which global brands looks into whenever they are going to the market, right? So what are the avenues that broadly these uh, digital brands have, or global brands have, right? So it's always as you know, we have seen its content is at the core of everything that they do in any market they go. We'll look at a couple of examples in the coming slides of SEO, a local SEO. When we say local SEO, for example, IBM is a global brand, but when it comes to India, it still have to fight it out with the national players, right? It may be Infosys, Wipro, and others. So then it has to go for a local SEO. There are a lot of techniques involved in that, and then there has to be a paid budget as well for them to create the awareness. Social media marketing, no brainer, right? And then email marketing, even though many people say it's dead, that's still one of the uh, channels which really work well. And analytics is something that is big, because what does a big brand do with all this data which is coming to them, right? So that's one thing which is really, really important. And data analytics is at the uh, at the core of their marketing strategy. And then integrated planning. So it's always about these what we call as the moments of truth for the consumer, right? These micro moments where just a brand reaches out to the audience is something which makes them stick, right? So these are the arsenals, you can say, in terms of digital marketing, which is available for the any brand. It's not just for the global brands, even for the smaller ones, but many of them are not really given prominence when you're talking about a local brand, right? So as I said, content is at the core of anything anyone does on digital marketing. Many of the times people think that no, it's the platform which is really important, or it's the ad budget which is really important, and it's about the targeting which is really important. I mean, all being said, if the content itself is not enticing or not engaging, obviously it's going to fail. So that way, so as you can see in this survey, so the single marketing activity you think will have a largest impact is content marketing. We will discuss what are the other factors or other branches of content marketing in the coming slide. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, as you know, if any of you try to do a Google ad or a Facebook ad, earlier you had to do all by yourself. Now you have the artificial intelligence and machine learning of Google algorithms, which will suggest, why don't you go with this keyword, why don't you go with that targeting, why don't you use this creative, this seems to be doing better, why don't you stop that, why don't you put this keyword into negative, and this is not giving you any result, just burning the money, right? So that is something which is is only going to grow. And then comes the marketing automation, because any repeatable activity in the marketing right can be automated, right? It may be email marketing, or even to an extent the website maintenance, and even social media management, right? And big data, as we spoke, data is something that is the oil, is the new fuel. So it depends on the brands. It's maybe global or local, how they make use of the data which is available, which is first party data and the third party data. CRO and improving the website experience is also a key component in the marketing activity. CRO, for people who don't know, CRO is conversion rate optimization. It's essentially is using tools like Hotjar and Crazy Egg, which will give you a video recording of the behavior of the user on your website or a landing page or a mobile app, right? So looking at those video recordings and the heat maps, and the how user has behaved on the website, where he has exactly clicked, which color is he liking, right? So using all of this, you can improve the experience, so that you can optimize the landing pages and make most out of it, right? So as you can see, social media marketing is still, is still not if you in terms of commercial impact, right? Because it's still people are not able to quantify it. Social media marketing is still looked at as something that will give you reach, as something which will engage, something which will ensure that you stay top of the mind by having right conversations, but not essentially will bring the bucks that the business are looking, right? So mobile marketing, it may be a mobile app, or all the activity that you're doing has to be mobile first. It may be your website you're creating, or it may be the copies that you're writing, or it may be the creatives that you're doing for social media. All has to be mobile compatible and responsive, because 70% of the global traffic on these social platforms comes from mobile, right? So that's important. And there are others which are also important. I don't really it's self explanatory. So moving on, as I was saying, in the content itself, it may be a global brand or local. I'll take a couple of examples in the coming slides. So how content is really important for anyone when they're talking about digital. Without content, I feel however best you are in digital, it really doesn't work, right? So why I say that is because we all heard about the egg picture which went viral, right, a year ago on Instagram, and which became the most loud Instagram post, right? Obviously, there was not even a single dollar put behind that post, and it was promoted, correct? So it was just instantaneous, just people got engaged with it, and there was not really any ask from the people. Neither the egg was asking people to purchase something, neither it was associated with a brand then, right? So of late we got to know who are the people who created it and how they are getting business. But when it went viral, right, so it has no commercial intent, it was just pure engagement and fun, right? So that's where the content comes in. So it's not no more the direct sales, that if anyone tries to do that on social media, it really fails miserably, right? So these are the different content formats which really brands should look into, and all of this are an opportunity for the digital marketer. For example, blogs. So yeah, for brands the blogs will work, but who will create the blog, who will identify which blogs to write, how do you do the research? It's all the world has about 7 billion people, but I'm sure already there is about some 20 billion blogs which has been published, or pages, right? So there is already a lot of clutter, and people doesn't want to really, and they really don't care about another blog, right, unless it's really relevant to them and engaging. So there are tools like Moz where you go and analyze. There is Google Trends, right, and there are various other tools which you can use and identify which content to really write for the businesses that you're working or which you're managing, right? And the videos, no surprises, it may be education, or it may be online classes, or it may be a doctor consultation, or it may be you're training the farmers, or it may be training the college graduates, right? So it's all has taken the format of video. So that's the easiest way, and as we see this data charges, or data becoming more affordable, people are just consuming more and more video, right? So that's one format you should have. So the thing is, the content creation at the same time is tough and easy, right? Because if you create content, for example a blog, then using the same content and making it a video is not that tough once you have that content, right? So it takes different shape, it gets repurposed multiple times. So it can content in the form of infographics, where if you have to tell people the steps that they should follow. For example, if your bank is talking about how they should use their mobile app, it can just explain, use it using an infographic. right? So case studies is something which always your customers would love to look at. As marketers, there has to be a lot of case studies which has to be prepared. And ebooks are mostly given as free giveaways, and which is of some value to them. And white papers and checklists, and then interviews, it may be of the senior leadership for the founders, right? So there are various content formats which is emerging. Obviously, if you take creatives itself, in that you have GIF, you have static, you have carousel, right? You have live. There's so many, right? So what is important is uh, to identify which is the right format which really works for me, right? For example, for a food brand, Instagram might be the best, but for them, blog might not be really of not that great help, right? But for a B2B brand, a blog is something that will really help, or an ebook is something that really help. For a company which is focusing on government business, for them white paper would be a very crucial content piece, right? So it depends on the business you are in, and how, uh, and you have to identify it by experimenting, right? So let's look at how the global brands are currently approaching the uh, marketing, right? I mean, I'll just spend some time how they were just doing the marketing, right? Just on the digital platforms itself. For Coca-Cola, right? I mean, this is one of the one of the biggest brands of the world, right? And one of the largest non-tech companies in the world, correct? So Coca-Cola has a unique way of communication. Its approach is all about going local, right? So even when it comes to digital, the same is being reflected there, right? So its ads would be in the local language, and its communication, the imagery that it uses, the scenarios that it creates, the expressions it brings out in people's minds. So all localized, right? So let's look at some of the examples how they do it, and then we'll discuss. Just skip through. Let's just pause it here. Yeah, like this, there are so many instances which the Coke used to invest and engage with the audience, right? So obviously, all of this innovation comes with its own cost, and also look at the effort it has to do to make it happen, right? So I mean, many of you might remember, I think about 10 years back, It tried to bring people of India and Pakistan together by putting a video wall, right? So there were so many, Coke always tries to be part of the conversation. It never tries to sell this carbonated drink, but it just conveys that Coke will be part of all your celebrations and happy moments, right? So it's all ads revolves around that. So what I'm trying to say is, it's the traditional advertising, as you can see, however interesting it is, but it comes at a huge cost. And obviously, a global brand like Coke can only afford it. Obviously, not a new startup or not many of the new startups and many of the small businesses, right? Let's look at other examples, how others do it. So this is one of the recent ads which Nike uh, Nike did it, right? So this is when everyone was going through a tough time after COVID, right? So it tried to up the spirits of the people, and Nike's approach is very centralized, unlike Coke, which is very localized, even though it's a global brand. Nike believes in communicating one central message across the globe. So I think once you watch this video, it will be self-evident. Let me play this video. Yeah, did you see what happened here in the Nike? So it, in a way, it's a centralized message. It tried to convey one message to everyone across the globe, right? And it showed multiple nationalities, people of different color and creed, right? So that's the Nike strategy. So it revolves Nike's always the core messages. Um, it's always about standing for a cause, right? So, and when it comes to Toyota, I mean, it's always about the innovation, right? So this was the ad which they did. They had launched it for the Olympics, Tokyo Olympics. Unfortunately, it's also postponed, but Toyota's communication is always about the innovation, right? And it's about its product. So essentially, all of this creation, comes at a huge cost, as you can, see, right? So let's see how the same brands, how exactly they are, doing on the digital also. Unfortunately, when we look at them, right? So they carry forward the same, approach to digital also on the global marketing. Right. So if you look at Coke, they have just created multiple national handles, and they again carry forward the same message. More or less, it remains the same. It might work for the Coke, because they're already an established brand and they don't really have to sell anything through and digital. It's just about engagement. But not the small businesses can expect the same, right? So we'll also look at some of the examples. So Nike, again, it's a centralized one. They don't go for the nationalized approach. It's all one central message, right? So they don't have national. But when it comes to Toyota, Toyota have the national handles. At the same time, it's again about technology, their product, and the innovation, right? So not really, I have never seen all these three brands really making any dent on the digital front, even though they are big, even though they are well respected on the digital front. They might and some of them are also big spenders, but not really making any dent or engaging, right? um, Apple, if you look at this chart, Apple spends a lot of money in to just to tell people that it is still operational. Don't forget me, right? It's just about awareness, nothing else, because Apple knows if it's an aspirational product, and it really doesn't have to sell. So most of 60% of their ad budget goes for just the awareness part of it, right? But now let's look at some of the examples where digital has been used very wisely by the global brands. Right, so Tesla is a biggest example. As you can see, all the major automakers in the world, they have fat ad budgets for digital itself, but no one actually is leveraging it the way Tesla does. No one has a fan army, just like Tesla does, right? So uh, that is purely a different approach which Tesla takes. And Tesla is knows how to be part of the conversation, right? How to stay aspirational, how to stay innovative, right? So the other brands in a way sound boring in front of them, right? It's They are not no more engaging enough, right? So um, that's why all of them have to spend so much of money on the social media, right? So we will look at some of the other examples of it is in a home Indian brand going global, right? So Zomato, on the left hand side, what you see, the first screenshot is of Zomato India, and the right hand one is Zomato Middle East, right? So as you can see, Zomato is one of the right examples of how brands does social brands should do social media, how engaging it is, and how conversational it is, how it makes the viewer create the content than creating content all by its own, right? So that's Zomato has mastered that art, and it creates trend setting ads and formats very often, right? So as you can see, the left hand side India post is first is related to Dhoni as a retirement, and on the Instagram of the Middle East and the UAE handle, it's about connected to the blast that happened in Beirut, right? So it's all about staying relevant and being part of the conversation, and empathizing with the audience, right? So that's how Zomato stays on top. Again, it really doesn't spend too much on the digital ads, even though it spends huge money on the discounts and others, right? And this is another global brand, how it is cutting the clutter, and ensures that it stays top of the mind, it stays relevant and engaging, right? So on the right hand side, the image that you see, many of you must have seen Burger King created these huge hats, right? And whoever was visiting their stores, it made them wear it. Once someone wears it, so they can't stand next to each other. So that way, they ensure that there's a 2 meter distancing between them. So social distancing is taken care, right? So this is how innovative, at the same time engaging. Obviously, whoever gets a chance to do this, they will take a picture and post it on social media, and their friends will get to know it. So it is making user put the content than Burger King putting on its own. So the left side that you see, the women with the mask. So that's a new campaign where you just can go to Burger King's social media handles, Instagram or Facebook. It's, I think, now only applicable in Bulgaria. You just comment saying that, what is your order, and Burger King sends the order along with the a mask printed with the order, right? So next time, whenever you visit the Burger King store, you don't have to really talk, and you don't have to really remove your mask and do anything. Just go with the mask and stand there. uh, so it's a functional mask. Basically, the staff there reads your mask, and then they take the order, right? So that's the whole concept, and it's really engaging, uh, right? So it's a functional mask. So this is how, even though a global brand, but this is how they are, so at the core, as you can see, it's not really the money that matters, it's about the content creation, right? Couple of brands that I worked with, for example, Wipro, when we were targeting the Japanese market, we did a research. What are the themes that we should be looking at? How should we connect with the people? And then we identified the Tokyo Olympics is happening back then, and then we said, the concept of omotenashi, which means Atiti Devo Bhava, like treating the tourist and the guest well, right, with all honor and right. So when we were targeting the Japanese market, we did a research. What are the themes that we should be looking at? How should we connect with the people? And then we identified the Tokyo Olympics is happening back then, and then we said, the concept of omotenashi, which means Atiti Devo Bhava, like treating the tourist and the guest well, right, with all honor and right. So we created a landing page for that, and then we created this landing page in English as well as Japanese. We targeted the Japanese people. We ran the ad, and then the expectation for this webinar was around 30, but we ended up getting about 55 of them, right? So it's even the global brand, even though it's Indian brand, when it spoke the language of the local people, it was able to connect, right? So it may be, while I'm taking this example, it may be a manufacturing company like RITTAL, or it may be a software company like Wipro. When it speaks the language of the local people or the nation they are operating in, automatically there is a connect, right? And for RITTAL, as you can see, the one of the posts here is connected to the Chandrayaan moon mission, right? It's a topical content, and at the same time, it is loaded with the RITTAL's offering, right? So as you can see, success isn't just a result of spontaneous conversion, but a consistent performance of the system, because this system, as you can see, is there in the RITTAL company name itself. RITTAL, this system is a full company name. It's a German brand, as I told you previously, right? So it's about identifying the topic which is relevant, and then connecting it to the brand, and marrying the both is the job of the marketer and a digital marketer. And this really got huge response, and we had done a campaign, a continuous campaign for about 6 months, called as Did You Know for RITTAL, where we used RITTAL product installations across the globe as an example. For example, it may be London Isle, or it may be in the RITTAL's uh, products being deployed in the Alps in Europe, right? So how they are, how the products are long lasting and how they function. So this is how through that campaign we had highlighted. It was done by the Indian team, right? So for us to convince the Indian team itself, we had to do a lot of research, and then when we convinced, there again the marketing team's question was, see, RITTAL, even though it's a German brand, the German marketing team itself is noting, I mean, why should we do it? Are we taking the risk? But obviously when we pitched this did you know campaign, it was backed by data, and we said this is something that will surely connect with your audience. We looked at the audience insights, and we analyzed the conversation that people have, right? So finally it was a success, and a year later the global team said that we want to do the did you know campaign that you have done, so we will take it global, right? So that's how successful it was. It is one of the campaigns that won the awards as well, right? And then Easy Tap. So in India, when the Supreme Court delivered the verdict on gay marriages, right? So this is how the Easy Tap, the fintech company, connected with the people. Again, it's the marrying of the topical content with the brand's core offering, right? So EasyTap, as you know, is a fintech company which enables payments. So the copy that was written was people, perspectives, and payments. We accept all. So it talked about the culture of the uh, EasyTap. At the same time, it spoke about its offering. Right. So it was again a huge engagement post, which was appreciated by the brand, and many people still get confused. They take this as the RITTAL's original logo, right? So that's how successful it was. So again, there was no money put behind this; it was pure organic. So content remains at the core. So moving on, in digital, as you know, e-commerce is something that has really seen the boom. Obviously, when people have experienced it, they tend to order everything through e-commerce itself. For example, most of our journey in India with Flipkart starts with ordering a mobile phone, or even with Amazon, right? Once you get used to that convenience of getting delivered something to your home, then people started ordering their groceries. Now anything to everything, including your white goods, everything is being ordered online, right? So e-commerce is going to be it's only going to grow. Even in its current state itself, it has created such a disruption in the market. So as we know, so e-commerce will work as a marketplace as well as for a unique standalone brand, right? So either ways, more or less, the fundamental principles remain the same. How it has to be built, what is the business strategy, how is the pricing done, how is the execution done, how is the delivery done, so it's, and finally, how is your customer experience overall, right? And it how convenient it is, whether it's just available on mobile app, or it's also a website, also a mobile site, also if is there a support team which is being deployed, right? So there are various factors which comes into play apart from the technology. And we will look at some of the free tools which brands can use of all sizes for the e-commerce, right? So recently, as you know, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced the launch of Facebook Shop and even Instagram Shop, right? So this is surely a big boom for the small businesses, because large businesses were already, anyone who had more than 10,000 followers on Instagram were already tagging the products, and they were already connecting the product to the e-commerce website, and they were selling it. But with the launch of FB Shop and Instagram Shop, so even those criterias are not really required. And what is going to happen is, even slowly, currently there is a dependency on the e-commerce site to be there for the Facebook Shop and IG Shop to complete the order outside US. So in US, even without an e-commerce site, you can actually upload your products on Facebook Shop by logging into the um, business manager and uploading it as a catalogs, and ensuring the pricing and other details are properly mentioned, and you have an American bank account, you link it to your Facebook, so people can directly purchase from Facebook without exiting it. So look at that for a convenience, right? So at the same time, if you don't have money to really promote and get business, even organically itself you can do it. You just set up the shop, it's available on the page, organically people come, whoever likes your product can order, right? Without you spending on the advertising budget. Instagram shop again works the same way, right? It's not available in many countries as of now, but it's being slowly launched, right? So if you go to settings and if you go to your business tab on Instagram app, you will be able to find the Instagram shop also, and Google shopping, right? So that is another big it's available again for free. Recently, last month, Google made it free for everyone. It's trying to compete with the Facebook and Instagram. So what happens is, uh, you have to set up something called as Google Merchant account if you have a e-commerce business, and Google will slowly start showing your products organically itself if you are qualifying, and if your SEO is good, right? So it will start showing it organically. So, and if you want more business out of it, so you can promote it by putting the money. All right. So the bottom Google screenshot that you see is of the Google shopping ads, right? So that's how Google shopping ads show up whenever you do it. If you are not promoting it by putting the money, then it will still show up organically across Google platforms. All right. So then WhatsApp for business, as you know, that's a different app altogether, and all of you must have heard about the case study of a Chennai women who did about 200 crore sari business just through WhatsApp messages and group creation, right? So it's all about social selling, as they call it. There is already an app called as Misho, which people are using. But just through WhatsApp, you can, if you are a small bakery, or if you have a small business of your own, you can create WhatsApp for business for free. It's a different app, and your mobile number should not have been used in the past for any WhatsApp. If you have a fresh number, you can go ahead and create, and you can start getting the inquiries. I mean, you can put this WhatsApp on your website, you can put it on your mobile app, and people can directly reach out to you, right? It's very simple. And recently WhatsApp also rolled out catalog one. So if you go in the business account, if you go and check the business profile, and your catalog would be visible on the right hand side, the Sanders wig that you see. So those are the ones, how the catalogs will appear. So if someone is interested, they can directly order from here. So it's very convenient. So it's not always that you have to put money and make it happen. If you are constrained by budget for a short time, you can use these free, and you can still make business, right? And Shopify, as you all know, it's one of the leading e-commerce platforms. So it's doesn't need any coding support. Any business can go and set up their account there and start selling online, right? It has its own restrictions, but still it's very convenient. It takes off that technology headache out of the business, right? There is Ecommerce likewise, and there are so many now, right? So then Amazon, Flipkart, Alibaba, and Noon is a leading e-commerce platform in the Middle East, especially in UAE, right? So as a digital marketer, these are the avenues which will give you a lot of business. These are the marketplaces for sure, but at the same time, the competition has increased there. And for the businesses, if they don't do volume, it's not going to be easy to keep selling on Amazon. So only why businesses especially go for Amazon, Flipkart is to get the volume, right? So when competition is high, your volume drops. So Amazon has its own self-serve platform where brands can advertise and promote. That's why you see, for example, if you go to category mobile, so you will see some of the mobile phones being promoted, and they come on top whenever you search, right? Same with Flipkart and Alibaba. And many of the small businesses doesn't have the bandwidth to do it on their own. So that's where digital marketers can help these brands by setting up a proper ad campaign, by setting up a proper product details, a product page, right? So you can create in a way a small website inside Amazon itself. It's called brand showcase, where all your products would be listed. You will get a dedicated page for yourself, right? So, and obviously brands or the business owners will don't have time to do that. So if you upskill yourself in these areas, so you are open to get those businesses, and it's very simple, right? So moving on, some of the niche e-commerce success stories, right? So uh, always when we say e-commerce, we always big name comes to our mind: Amazon, Flipkart, Alibaba, right? It's not always about the big brands. It's also about the niche and small businesses. For example, just this Ruban's accessories, which was started with 3 lakh capital in Phoenix Market City in Bangalore, now receives about 1,000 plus orders on a daily basis, and it ships to UK and US as well, right? And it clocks a revenue of 7.5 crore rupees plus yearly, right? So it's a really a great, I mean, not many of us have heard about it. It is, remains niche. It sells these exclusive jewelries, and it is making decent money, right? So it's just about and again it has its own e-commerce platform, right? So basically it doesn't want to really give out those margins to the Amazon and the other marketplaces. So that's very important. So you should understand which business you are in, and obviously there's so many businesses like this which who doesn't know how to do it on their own. So that's why digital marketers can really help them in doing it and going live. And another example is of Sacred Salts. Sacred Salts again is a niche, skincare company, and it was launched in 2018. And in just a matter of 6 months, from Amazon itself, they clocked around 1 crore. So it's again they have their own e-commerce platform. At the same time, they sell on marketplaces as well, right? So and it's about spending very judiciously in a smart way, and clocking the business, right? So uh, moving on, so what are the other avenues where really the brands can make use of, right? In digital, we spoke about the social, how the messaging, different formats brands are engaging with. We spoke about the e-commerce platform, how brands are engaging with, and what are the other avenues, right? So as most of you would be knowing, there is a good career in becoming an influencer if you have any art and talent to be an influencer. So if you have something to offer, so that is something you can build your own target audience, your own audience, and become a celebrity type, or what we call as an influencer, and then brands will pay you to promote their product. So again, when you as a marketer, when you're dealing with an influencer or you becoming an influencer, you should always ensure that you are sticking to your core audience and promoting what really matters to them. For example, someone, just because of they are famous, someone who is a beautician or a fashion stylish who is famous, just because she has about 10 million followers, you can't ask her to promote a a mobile phone, right? Or you can't ask her to sell a cool drink or other thing. I mean, there's always a thin line, but the thing is, it should not be it too much. Not it should not be something that your audience are not really prepared for, right? So as digital marketers, when you're identifying the influencers, you should be very careful in identifying which influencers you engage with and how you work with them. For example, we did a campaign for Indeed on TikTok last year when TikTok was still active in India, and the campaign was we engaged all the micro influencers, and the campaign name was find it on Indeed, right? So it's basically telling the people from tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India, because tier 1 cities already knew. Indeed is a job search platform, and you can come here and find your dream job, right? Because in India, everyone knows about Naukri and LinkedIn as a job searching platform, but not really Indeed, right? So that gave us 1.6 billion views from this tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 cities, right? So we engaged about 12 influencers from all parts of India, and it was a huge success. And then obviously the awareness about Indeed went up, and the traffic to website also went up. So it depends on what influencer you want to engage in, and also the game streaming. So that's again, another career, as I already told you, that's going to be another battleground for all the digital marketers, because gaming is going to be a $400 billion industry by next year, 2021. And there are leading platforms like Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, Beam, Azubu, Bigo Live, YouTube Gaming Africa, right? So there are various platforms where you can directly stream the games, and you can just be the facilitator, and then you can charge people and make money, right? So there are so many avenues for digital marketers and brands to do business, right? So apart from this, obviously, all of you must have heard about drop shipping, and where you can just act as a facilitator. You don't really have to own a warehouse or even an inventory, right? You just ensure that you get an order, you place it on the e-commerce platform, and the e-commerce platform will deliver the product as customer has placed the order directly on its platform, right? So the drop shipping is always there, which has cut the boundaries, and where people can really make career out of, right? So when any business is thinking about going for digital marketing, it may be national or global, right? It's very important the tools, it uses the right tools, right? It may be Google Trends, as you can see on the screenshot which I have put up, right? So Google Trends, if some of you doesn't know, it gives you the keyword search trend from across the globe. I mean, what exactly people are looking, and it gives it country wise. So you get to know what is the most popular conversation in this part of the country, and then you can actually go ahead and use those phrases and content. You can plan your SEO to that, right? So whenever businesses are planning, there are so many tools of the HubSpot, which is an inbound marketing CRM, right? Their CRM is free, but then their marketing hub and sales hub is comes with a subscription, right? And then you have Zoho CRM, Salesforce. These are the leading platforms. Zoho is still very competitively priced, but yeah, Salesforce is a little on the expensive side, right? So the tools as a digital marketer, you should know, so that either you can start your own business, or you manage someone else's business as being their marketer, or as their agency, right? Either ways, there is no escape for anyone who calls themselves digital marketers from learning these tools, right? So Facebook business dashboard and how it is being used. It may be analytics, it may be ads, it may be page manager, right? There are so many things so which have to be learned. And then you have LinkedIn also, which is very important. So Instagram and Facebook both can be managed just by the Facebook dashboard itself, right? So it doesn't have its own independent dashboard, right? And then when it comes to e-commerce, you have Shopify, WooCommerce, and FB and IG shops. We already spoke at length. So uh, Shopify and WooCommerce, you can actually take 14-day trial and try it for yourself or your brand, and you can learn, right? So if you see when Mark Zuckerberg was making that announcement of FB shops and IG shop, he had Shopify CEO by his side, right? So that's how closely integrated Shopify and Facebook are, and knowing Shopify in and out will really help you in going global with the e-commerce, right? And email marketing, Pardot is basically an email automation tool for B2B business mainly, and it's an expensive tool, but still the insights, the capabilities it has is unparalleled, right? And then Salesforce and Mailchimp also gives you that marketing automation. When I say marketing automation or email automation, for example, you go to Domino's Pizza and you order a pizza, and they take your email ID. Before you come home, there is a thank you message from them, and with the order details saying that, yeah, thank you for ordering pizza, right? So then you get another email after 7 days saying that, hey, I we didn't see you from last 1 week. Why don't you visit us? Here is your coupon code of 10% discount, right? So automatically emails like this after 7 days gap are triggered, not really by humans, it's all automated, right? So and likewise, basis the response, if you respond to that, you will get a different set of message. If you don't respond to that, you will get a different set of messages and emails. So that complete, what we call as nurturing a lead is taken care by these email marketing tools, right? Then you have performance marketing. Performance marketing is essentially means managing the ads, right? Across platforms. It may be Google search, shopping. Google shopping is a different setup, and then you have Facebook ads and catalogs, and then LinkedIn ads, right? There are various other platforms also like Twitter and others. It purely depends on the brands that you use. If you are trying to do an SEO for the brand, then SEMrush would be the tool, HRF, and then Moz for content, Google Analytics, Google Console, and Google My Business. Google My Business is especially built for the small mom and pop shops, where you can set up your own identity for free. You can actually get a Google domain website also for yourself through that, and you can also post something which stays for 7 days through Google My Post. It's a mini social media uh, platform, right? And you can update your brand logo, products, the interiors of your factory or office, and exteriors of it, directions. So that's your businesses entry point to Google, right? If you are really want to do SEO seriously, Google My Business is a must, and it's free, as I told you, and you should really try and explore. CRO, conversion rate optimization, as I told you already. So Hotjar and Crazy Egg are just a few tools which I have named here, which give you the video recording of your mobile app or a landing page or the website, right? So so these are the tools that I know, if you're seriously considering digital marketing as a career, should know of, right? So constant learning is something that has to be there with the digital marketer, because it's fairly a new industry. The other is there is so much of disruption happening from all around, right? So constant learning is something that will keep you at the front of everything that you do for your business or for your agency, right? So as we have seen in the data, so digital is going to be the way forward, right, across it. So digital doesn't just stop at social media, but it's also about, the artificial intelligence, and then, virtual reality, and there are so many things, right? So it's all about constant learning. So even though we are in the digital marketing, if we don't learn, we will lose out. We don't be able to take the complete benefit out of it, right? So uh, there are various ways to learn. One is obviously the Google, LinkedIn learning platform, where you can take a paid subscription. Sometimes it gives the course for free as well. Take up these courses, and there are so many online training available, right? I mean, now you have HETIC as a big institute which is doing it. I mean, 10 years back, when I started my career, digital was very new. We had to just learn by doing ourselves, right? I mean, I would have been happy if there was a college like HETIC back then, but there wasn't one, right? So with digital, you have to do it by learning. It's all more about self learning, and then sharing among the uh, community and your friends, and then learning from the other experts. So that's how you will really upskill, right? So there are there are other things also. Basically, it's also, I forgot to mention about the listening tools like Meltwater. All right, so Meltwater is a listening tool which will uh, search through the entire internet and brings out the brand information. When I say brand information, for example, Coca-Cola uses Meltwater. So then Meltwater will fetch all the information wherever people are talking about Coca-Cola. It may be any platform in the world, and it will notify Coca-Cola saying that 10% of the people are talking positively, 70% are neutral, and 5% are negative. Right. So basis that, Coca-Cola can keep its ears very close to the ground and make uh, relevant strategy changes so that they can stay on top of the market, right? So there are so many innovations that happens on digital, right? So for example, how it is now, we all know about Airbnb, right? Airbnb's complete business was shut because of the lockdown. So no more people were traveling. Airbnb is all about experiences. People are not going out, and yet it came out with a new platform where people can book these experiences. It may be an experience of a African tribe, uh, playing a guitar in front of him, or they're dancing in front of him, or it may be someone making a exclusive dish for them whenever they had visited Sweden or other countries. So all of this, Airbnb launched a platform through which it brought it to the living rooms of the people, right, and just ensured that people are still getting the same experiences which they were getting before COVID through Airbnb, right? So likewise, you must have seen many hotels are now, you don't have to really go and stand in the reception to check in. You just book it online. You will get it, a password to your mobile, and you just go near the door, and then you can just check in without really interacting with humans, right? So that entire experience has been made frictionless. Same with mostly with the flights check-in, right? So you just book it, and then you can do an auto check-in at the airport, and then you just can go and board the flight, right? So everywhere there is disruption. So what I'm trying to say is, digital marketing, it doesn't just confine yourself to the social media and then the usual channels, there is so much that happens. For example, the trade shows is something that has been completely stopped, right? So, and again, the trade shows are going online, right? So the trade shows are happening online with virtual reality and augmented reality technologies, where people will get the same experience as they were getting in the trade shows when they used to visit, right? So there's so many innovation happening. So digital is all about this, right? So when you look at this 360-degree, so you would be able to plan better, right? So uh, where are the things, which are the places you should normally be listening and going to? For example, for me, I apart from digital marketing, so for digital marketing I hear Neil Patel, I mean, every video of his, and I try to understand what is he trying to say and upskill myself, right? And Naval Ravikant is a well-known angel investor. He's the founder of AngelList. He is the early investor in Twitter and Uber. So he operates from Silicon Valley, US, right? So he's from last 5-6 years, he's someone who's doesn't just talk about angel investing. He also talks about various aspects of business, how it is operated, how it is done, and which are really I find it very important. So I follow them and I listen to them. Sadhguru, again, it's about how practically you can lead your life happily, right? So these are the people I go to, not necessarily you also should go to the same people to listen and learn and upgrade, right? So you can find choose your own people, but it's important to have some of these people where you can go and learn from, right? So what are the other platforms that I go to are the social samosa and afox, and then Mado marketing, Facebook blueprint courses, brand equity, HubSpot, fast company, right? And then BBC news to know the world news, right? So these are the ones I go. And obviously Google podcast, I find about the digital marketing and new trends is something that I listen to. So as a digital marketer, there are so much opportunities. It's and that we have seen that digital marketing itself has so many facets. It's important you pick up one in that and become an expert, right? So why digital marketing is everyone says is the future is because one is obviously the time spent by people on the platform is so much on digital platforms, right? So wherever people meet, it's a marketing opportunity, right? If they meet at a store, it's a marketing opportunity. If they meet online, it's a marketing opportunity. So that's why it's going to stay throughout, right? So, and then digital marketing is also it lets consumer be, it gives the control back to the consumer. So that's why people are going to really stay with it. It's not the companies which will demand uh, uh, when you will get the delivery or how it is. So it's the consumer who will get the control completely. It has already happened with OTT platforms, right? So previously all of us has to go to the movie theaters, and we have to go at particular time, and you have to buy a ticket and then ensure that you're at the right time to watch that movie, right? Now on the OTT platform, it's of time of your choice, place of your choice, wherever you are. If you just have internet connection, or without that also, if you have downloaded, you can watch the movie, right? You no longer required. So that's why internet is going to be a leveler, right? It gives equal opportunity to everyone, and it basically it may be Bill Gates or it may be Mark Zuckerberg. Google will still throw the same results which it gives you and me, obviously with customizations on their preferences, but the product is the same. Just because Zuckerberg and Bill Gates are rich, Google hasn't created a new product for them, right? So it's a great leveler in that case, and whoever is the best can make the career here, right? So after COVID and after this digital disruption and adoption has taken, So there are so many things which are in high demand. For example, copywriters. When I say copywriters, the text that you see on the ads is written by the copywriter. The content that you see on social media is written by the content writer. The content that is there on the website is done by them. So it's basically the copywriters, and once copywriters write it, they share it with the designers, and then in fact designers then go ahead and do the amazing creatives, right? So these are the things which are still, far away from the automation, and the systems and the robots and algorithms and artificial intelligence is not is not really going to take this part of the work for sure in coming days. So those are in high demand. And then motion graphic designers, video creators, performance marketers who can manage the ads, account managers for the agencies, strategists and business owners who can think holistically across, SEO experts, because people doesn't want to spend more money, they will instead spend it on a resource and ensure they save the ad budget, right? For the SEO and social media marketers, no brainer there. And then product marketers, because product is something that is ubiquitous, Google is a product, Facebook is a product, Instagram is a product, Apple is a product, right? So it's very easy to scale, or whatever you create. Shopify is again a product, right? So it's easy to scale. So if you are a good product marketer, you can take it to the places. For example, Swiggy, Zomato, Noon, all of these are finally a product, and so that's where the high demand for product marketers are coming. Then e-commerce developers who can do Magento sites, who can do your Shopify site, or set up a WooCommerce site, right? So those are the ones who are in demand. Mobile app, because everyone wants to have a mobile app, right? And then digital data analysts, as you know, this data is the new fuel, and there's so much data, so they need someone to analyze it. Then AR/VR experts because of the boom, right? And then mobile app marketer, someone who can really market it well, podcast marketer, and video marketers, right? So whichever the path you take, the one thing that I have found in this last 10 years is you have to hustle. There is no other shortcut to this, right? So uh, the thing is, as I told you, it has its plus and minuses, right? So just because it is, it can be managed from anywhere, the clients or your business owner or your customers expect you to manage it 24/7, right? And you have to learn fast and make changes very quickly to survive. So that way, there's no shortcut but for you to hustle and then move forward. And as with my all webinars, this is my sincere request to everyone, that digital is great, digital is surely the future, but everything has to be taken with a pinch of salt, right? So many of the times what happens is people take whatever they see on social too seriously, that maturity hasn't come. There has to be a verification mechanism. The platforms themselves are doing so much with respect to fake news, harassing and bullying, right? But uh, while all of that gets happened, but we should educate people on how they should be reacting to social media posts and comments and likes and dislikes, right? So so you just have to find out a way to deal with it, and you should not take it seriously. And there are incidents in the past unfortunately happened, right? I mean, influencers who became really famous and then they got celebrity status, but they experienced depression, right? I mean, when someone has so many followers, millions of followers, I mean, why should they feel lonely, right? So it happened with Sushant Singh as well. As you can see, he had about close to 10 million followers, but still he felt he's alone, right? So as a digital marketer, a community, so it's our responsibility to create that awareness. So as a concerned digital marketer, so I just make it a point in all my webinar to convey this point, that take everything with a pinch of salt, and then stay safe, and go digital, and keep doing your best. Thank you again for HETIC team for giving me this opportunities. Hope you found this useful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop a note to me on LinkedIn, and you can find me by my name Nagesh PM. Right, and I will be happy to respond and engage with you. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching. Yeah.